sorry, not sorry. I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I hear it often enough that it's, part of a regular, sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, well, sorry, not sorry. So it seemed like an appropriate title for this morning. What is an apology? We talked to the kids about that this morning, and we learned that it was an admission of error or discourtesy followed by an expression of regret. So we're either sad for something that's happened to someone, or we're sorry for something that we've done wrong, or we're sorry for hurting someone. It's basically admitting something that we've done. Yet, culturally, we are socialized to apologize even when we haven't done anything wrong. I don't know if you were here when we watched the movie, The American Society of Magical Negroes. And in the beginning of that movie, it's an art exhibition. And this young man was walking through the room and he was apologizing the whole time as he was walking through the room. And it's not something that isn't common. It is common in our society to simply apologize for taking up space, right? We're socialized to apologize if something we do or say makes someone else feel uncomfortable. Even when it's making someone else uncomfortable even when what's making someone else uncomfortable is you taking up space in the world. There's a quote that I've seen often that says, well-behaved women seldom make history. So I thought I'd throw it in there since it's Women's History Month, and it's very relevant to this, right? It pushes me to ask, what is well-behaved? When Vlad was about 4, he had to be 4 or younger because I didn't have Zia yet. They are 4.5 years apart, and I was not pregnant. So he was about 3 or 4. And we just thought he was the cutest thing in the world, right? You've met my son. He was the cutest thing in the world, and so I was taking him to an agency, modeling agency. And the young man brought us back into the room, and Vlad was with me, and we were in the room. And Vlad, 3-year-old, was a typical 3-year-old, right? And so he was shifting around, moving around, and he wasn't doing anything. But I was saying, hey, come sit here, right? I was trying to get him to be well-behaved. Come sit here. Come show that I am a good mom and that I've taught you that you need to sit down when you're somewhere else, right? And the young man said to me, he's fine. He is so well-behaved. You should see some of the kids that come in here. And I thought to myself, wow, that's subjective, isn't it? But at the same time, Vladimir wasn't doing anything. He was simply taking up space that a 3-year-old would take, right? So mommy was kind of in the wrong here. Because of my socialization, I wanted him to take up less space and behave as an adult. And he was 3. So the reason being so that, again, right, so that I could be seen as a good mom. I learned my lesson that day, thankfully, because Vlad takes up a lot of space, right? I learned my lesson, and I no longer keep either of my children from taking up space. And I've had to, and it's kind of been a deprogramming that has had to happen in order for me to allow them to be. But the comeback to that, the thing that comes back to me and that warms my soul is I was driving Vladimir, this was just last year, I was driving him home with a friend. There was a friend in the back and Vlad was in the front seat, and he was looking at something on his phone and he just started screaming. Oh! We're in a car, it was cold, the windows were closed, and he's screaming. And I didn't yell, I didn't say anything, I just laughed with him and his friend. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And he was so excited about some superhero that was going to be in some movie. And his friend didn't say anything because his friend knew and understood him. And I didn't say anything because I learned my lesson when he was 3. And we were in the car. He's taking up space. Dropped off his friend and he turned to me. We're driving home. It's about a 3-minute drive. He says, you know, Mom, you're like my best friend. Huge teenager saying that I'm his best friend. What? What do you mean? I said, why do you say that, honey? He says, because I can just be who I am. And you are just there. You don't tell me not to be. Lesson learned. Right? Throughout history, we learn about people who took up space and were unapologetic about the space they inhabited. I'm going to read to you a text from the Bible. If I can find it. Oh, it's not here. Interesting. Oh, here it is. So, Jesus entered the temple courts and drove out all who were buying and selling there. He overturned the tables of the money changers and the benches of those selling doves. It is written, he said to them, my house will be called a house of prayer, but you are making it a den of robbers. The blind and the lame came to him at the temple, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did, and the children shouting in the temple courts, Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were indignant. Do you hear what these children are saying? They asked him. Yes, replied Jesus. Have you never read? From the lips of children and infants, you, Lord, have called forth your praise. And he left them and went out of the city to Bethany, where he spent the night. Sorry, not sorry. He didn't apologize. He did what he did. He knew it was right and kept moving. The names we know are of the unapologetic. Gandhi was unapologetic in his belief that India could be independent of the British, and he encouraged his people to resist without violence. No apology there. Nelson Mandela was unapologetic in his belief that South African Black people could and should rise out of apartheid. No apology. Winston Churchill, love him, hate him, or indifferent, he was unapologetic about the space he encompassed and moved boldly. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Napoleon, Joan of Arc, Greta Thunberg, Maya Angelou, Malala Yousafzai, Madam C.J. Walker. Names of those who were seldom well behaved. They were unapologetic about the space they were here to take up. This past week, I saw a story on Facebook that solidified this idea of taking up space unapologetically, in spite of fear or consequences. And I don't know if you've seen it on my Facebook, but I'm going to say it here. The woman who shared this story said that when she was 16 years old and in high school, she went to, I believe it was her history class, and found the desks in a circle, arranged in a circle, with one desk in the middle. The teacher, whom she knew to be relaxed and affable, came in and in a gruff voice told everyone, "Have a seat, sit down, and stay quiet. If anyone says a word or moves, they will fail this class." She was a straight A student, so she was afraid. And the other students kind of looked at each other. Then what happened next? The teacher went to the center of the room where there was a bowl with a goldfish in it on that center desk, took the goldfish out of the bowl and put it on the desk and walked out of the room. No one moved or said anything. They watched in horror as the fish flailed around until one young lady said, "Forget this," got up, put the fish back in the bowl. Once she did that, the teacher came back in and said, "Look at what society has done to you. You will suspend your beliefs for the promise of something small." What has society done to us? The young lady who got up and saved the fish was not well behaved. And I venture to think she was sorry, not sorry, for doing what she felt was right. Her name would be the one remembered. Are you sorry or not sorry for the things you can do to make the world a better place? We are all here for a purpose. Let's stop apologizing for the space we take and instead fill it to capacity or overflowing. Right now is the time for our battle cry to be sorry, not sorry, because love, peace, justice, and community are too precious to lose for the promise of something small. Our closing hymn